First, I'd like to thank the Ministry of Economy and Finance and the World Bank for hosting GIGF2020. And this is my great pleasure to have this opportunity to share the Korean New Deal, the national strategy for a great transformation. In this talk, I will briefly talk about why we launched the Korean New Deal and what it looks like. Similar to the original New Deal introduced in 1930s, the Korean New Deal was stringently introduced to overcome worldwide economic crisis. Restricted movement across the border lead to a significant plunge of the global trade. Korea also faces falling consumption, shock to the employment, and slow export. Bitter fact is that the crisis increased inequality. Data show that the impact of COVID-19 disproportionately affect the poor and the vulnerable. Therefore, in addition to recover from recession, we have to pursue social structural transformation to have inclusive growth. Moreover, the restricted social contract by pandemic expedite the worldwide digital transformation. Although there is no direct evidence that the effect of climate change on pandemic, many of the root causes of climate changes are known to increase the risk of pandemic. Therefore, COVID-19 led us to a great recognition of the urgent need for climate action. To overcome all these challenges, government has two major tools, the budget and the legislation. The budget investment could make new jobs and businesses. The legislative action could stimulate industries and private capital. The New Deal back then in 1930s injected budget to huge construction projects like building roads, bridges, and dams to make jobs and industries. Then, for Korean New Deal, to which area the budget should be invested to create jobs and business? In which field the regulation should be reformed to make industry to be prepared for the future? To maximize a return on investment, let's focus our strength that Korean New Deal would make it even stronger. Korean IT power. Korea has the world's best internet infrastructure. We launched the world's first commercial nationwide 5G network. With strong fiscal support and promotive legislation, Korean digital power will gain higher global competitiveness. This strategy is called the Digital New Deal. Another strategy is to confront very difficult but unavoidable challenge, the climate change. Korean government ratified the Paris Agreement and is prepared to submit the LEDs to UN by the end of this year. This will be very challenging and ambitious plan because Korea is a global industrial giant, having one of the world's largest shipbuilders, car maker, and steel maker, which contribute to the great portion of the employment and the national GDP. Therefore, to meet this ambitious challenge while maintaining industrial competitiveness, strong fiscal support and legislative actions are required. So, we designed another pillar of the Korean New Deal as a Green New Deal. With these two digital and Green New Deal, I'd like to add most important factor, the people, with emphasis. COVID-19 drove unemployment rate up high. Moreover, worldwide digital transformation will lead to a growing mismatch between the labor and the job, which would make the unemployment and polarization even worse. So, previously stated digital and Green New Deal should be founded firmly on the stronger safety net, the third puzzle of Korean New Deal. So far, I explained why we launched the Korean New Deal, and now I will talk about a few examples of main projects of Korean New Deal. Let's start with the Digital New Deal. The key in the battle against the global big tech companies is the data. Global big tech companies gather the vast amount of data and use them to hold a prominent position in the market. But collecting decent amount of quality data is very expensive and challenging for latecomers. Big data and AI complement to each other, so one improves the performance of the other. Therefore, help our IT industry to gain global competitiveness, we launched a signature project of Digital New Deal called DataDam. DataDam is a cyberspace such as portal, computer server, or cloud system where the huge data are collected and used for services. And this animation shows the data lifecycle of the DataDam. From various IoTs, sensors, and robots, data are collected. The collected data are accumulated in the cloud system called DataDam through the high-speed networks. Then this collected data are processed to be ready for AI training and open to public for AI services like smart factories, autonomous vehicles, smart energy management systems, etc. In response to the industrial needs, DataDam project is currently collecting over 100 categories, including corpus and medical images. In addition to this, government-owned huge public data will be also released to the DataDam. For those who want to use data for business may not afford the high computing capacity, appropriate AI solutions. So, to support those startups and small businesses, we issued vouchers for purchasing data and use AI resources. To build this data ecosystem, ranging from collection to the services, government will invest about 18 trillion Korean won, expecting to create over 380,000 jobs along the way by 2025 only in the DataDam project. With the pandemic as a momentum, on-tech service market is growing. So to be ready for that, Digital New Deal will provide infrastructure for on-tech industry. Considering the importance of quality education in the times of pandemic, we will provide high-speed Wi-Fi to all elementary, middle, high schools across the country, and also replace old laptops, servers, and network facilities. Remote working solutions will be provided to small and medium enterprise to offer them flexibility to deal with unexpected pandemic situation. These are only a couple of examples for the projects of the Digital New Deal, but I hope that this will help you to grab an idea how Korean New Deal helps to create jobs and expand the markets. Now let's move on to the Green New Deal. Recall that the Green New Deal was introduced as a climate action. So the ultimate goal would be to reduce the carbon footprint. One way to do this is to consume less energy, for example, by remodeling buildings energy efficient. The green remodeling starts from about 200,000 old public buildings like schools, rental housings, public offices, community centers. Every town has public facilities, so local workers, construction companies, material suppliers could participate in the projects and share the benefits. And this nationwide remodeling program will boost up eco-friendly construction enterprise. Another way to reduce carbon footprint is to generate electricity carbon-free. We have continuously implemented renewable energy systems like photovoltaic, wind farms over the years. But finding a generation site is often challenging due to a limited land availability and social acceptability. To expand the power generation sites, we will build a large-scale offshore wind parks. Since we have one of the best shipbuilders, offshore engineering industries, and rich supply chain capabilities such as machinery and steel production, through this offshore wind park project, industries will gain global competitiveness and create many jobs in the field of construction, operation, and management. To increase the social acceptability, local residents of offshore wind park will participate as a stakeholder to share benefits. Smart grid system for effective management of renewable energy will be implemented, and we will expedite the construction of electric and hydrogen charging stations as well. Lastly, but most importantly, all these grand plans of Korean New Deal should place on a highest priority on people. All these grand plans should be based on the firm foundations of inclusiveness. To offer stronger social safety net, over 28 trillion Korean won budget will be injected. Data show that there is a greater shock on the vulnerable group during the time of crisis. To strengthen this safety net for unemployed, we will expand the coverage of unemployment insurance to the freelancers, platform workers, and self-employed workers. Various subsidies are designed to promote the employment and help unemployed to focus on their job searching. In addition to the strong employment safety net, a stronger social safety net is also important. The eligibility of the criteria for the basic livelihood security benefits will be gradually relaxed within 2 years' time span. Pilot program for sickness benefit will be also launched. To help people be ready for a great transformation era, we will provide various trainings and educational programs for different levels of expertise. For those who pursue professionals in IT fields, advanced AI degree program will be offered. For those who are considering job transition, various non-degree online, offline AI skill trainings are offered. For those who are at the risk of digital divide, regional community centers will open digital learning center so that residents could learn basic daily digital skills like kiosk ordering or mobile ticketing, etc. Including training center instructor, operators, organizer, we expect to create 180,000 jobs by 2025. Finally, to produce fruitful results of the Korean New Deal, we will utilize all government measures. The supplementary budget and the fiscal year 2021 budget will be injected to expedite the Korean New Deal. The government budget will play as priming water, attracting the pumping of private capital. Both digital and Green New Deal program involve many innovative attempts for transformation, which often requires the reform or removal of strict, old-dated regulations. We will keep in close communication with private sector to reform the rules and regulations. To attract market liquidity to investment, we will make a K-New Deal fund. This fund also aims to make profit sharing from K-New Deal investment project available to general public. Finally, to invite more participation of people and industries, this New Deal project needs to be implemented, customized to regions. Almost half of the total New Deal budget is spent at the regional site. And local government funding contributes to the total New Deal budget about 50%. So, to expedite the balanced development of the country, we will strongly support and promote the regionalized New Deal project. Despite being triggered from the unprecedented pandemic crisis, Korean New Deal envisions not just to recover from recession, but to take a big step further to turn Korea into smarter, greener, and safer global leading country. Hope this helps you to overview the Korean New Deal, and I'd like to thank you for your attention.